Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Nowadays I'm exploring the Cessna 172, which is equipped with Garmin G1000, and in this regard I'm making a series of videos for the beginners so that it's easy for you to look for a specific information on my channel. So far I have covered all the topics, but VOR navigation was not there on my channel for Cessna 172. So in this video I will be covering the VOR navigation part. If you know how to carry out VOR navigation, then you can just fly any plane without a proper flight plan made by SimBrief or maybe Skyvector or Little Nav Map. You can just select any VOR, you can just fly your plane, and then you can carry out an ILS approach and landing if the plane has an ILS approach and landing capability. So it's something really interesting, and trust me, till the time I was not really aware of this type of navigation. The Microsoft Flight Simulator was getting a bit boring. But now it's more exciting, and I can just fly this plane anywhere I want. So first of all, just have a look at the map, and I will tell you what is a VOR and how you actually find a VOR in this map. First of all, in this world map, when you start the free flight, click this option, go down, and you will see runways and nav aids. Nav aids are actually navigation aids, so just turn this option on and then you will be able to see the navigation aids. There are two types of navigation aids. One is VOR, which is very high frequency omnidirectional radio, and another one is NDB, which is non-directional beacon. So I will be doing this short flight from Lahore to Islamabad, to my city. So this is Lahore and this is Islamabad. Now let's see if the VOR is visible. Now you can see these VORs are coming over here, and they are represented by a sign, this hexagonal shape, and there is a square around it. If there is only hexagonal shape, then it's only a nav aid which is emitting radio frequencies, and that's it. But if it has a square around it, it means it also has a DME, which is distance measuring equipment. So your plane will know how far the plane is from the VOR. So you can ignore these VORs. These are actually not the correct ones. The correct one is LA. Because for Lahore, it's LA. And if you want to confirm then which one to use, just open the electronic flight bag. And over here, I'll just show you. I cannot move it. Okay. So departure, let's say if it's OPLA. And I select the chart. And what we can do is this. We can look at the approaches. Go for the VOR approach. Let's say VOR 36 right or 36 left. So over here the VOR will be given, which is 112.7, and the name is LA, the identifier for this VOR. Even you can check this over here in the ILS. Even when you're carrying out an ILS approach and landing, the Lahore VORs is given, and plus you can see that its direction is given on the left hand side of the runways. So that's how you know, okay, which one to pick. So this is the correct VOR. Then what you can do is this. You can just simply fly towards Islamabad International Airport. You can track the Islamabad International Airport's VOR, which is over here, and the identifier is BTR. And it will be this one, not this one. These are actually your ILS. So this is your VOR. Again, same thing that you can do. You can look at the chart. Arrival is OPIS. So if I click this and look at the chart, approaches, even in ILS, you will see 114.6 BTR. And it's shown over here as a circle with the dot in it. So its shape is a bit different, but this is the VOR. So I can make my flight plan, and I can just fly from Lahore to Islamabad directly. So what I can do, I can just add this flight plan. I just want to show you something. So let's select Lahore. And let's select Islamabad. Actually, this video is for the beginners, so that's why I am not showing you any other source. Although I will show it to you in this video. But for now, I just want to focus on this map because you are used to this map, and I just want to make few things clear to you. So now, if you fly this path, so this is roughly 320, maybe 330 degrees, because north up is 360. So it's like 350 is somewhere here. So it would be 330, 320 degrees. If you keep on flying like this and tracking this VOR, you will actually end up over here like this. But your approach starts from here. If you're going to land at runway 28 left or right, your approach starts from here, roughly here, okay, as per the maps. Let's open it up and look at approach. Let's say 28 right. So this is your approach, which will be somewhere here. Now this one, yeah, somewhere here. So you have to actually come over here in order to perform an approach and land, because I will mix ILS approach and landing with this VOR. So in this regard, you actually make your flight plan and you enter more VORs into this flight plan in order to have better accuracy. And one more thing I just want to tell you is this, that these very high frequency omnidirectional radios, they actually emit signals in all the 360 directions, and you have to actually follow its direction. So instead of going to Islamabad, I can select the Sialkot VOR. This is Sialkot International Airport's VOR. This is the one SLT. I can go to SLT. So let's say in this flight plan, I'm just showing it to you for your information. I can just remove them. Let me just remove it. Add a waypoint. Facility. Can I select SLT? Yeah, Sialkot. And that's it. Add. If I close it, no, we'll get the flight plan over here. Oops. Now the plane will actually go to SLT. Akbar, you can just leave it because there is actually a departure procedure coming, so I can just change it. I can just keep a direct departure because we are not following any departure procedure. Change procedure. Because when you are carrying out VOR approach, obviously, or departure, you will be interacting with the ATC in real life, and the ATC will be giving you the headings, and then after you depart from an airport, then you track the VOR. But in this regard, as we are not carrying out any GPS navigation, as VOR is a ground-based navigation device, so that's why we will not follow any departure. We will just straight away go to SLT. Now again in this plan, you can see that as the arrival procedure is loaded, so that's why if I select to do direct, no, it's actually not changing. Let me just do it again. Change procedure, direct, change procedure. It's gone, yeah. Now again, if I turn left from SLT and if I start going towards this runway, as I've not selected any arrival procedures, so that's why I will actually end up on the runway like this. But I have to start my approach from here. So I have to go here. So what I'll do is this, that instead of going to Islamabad directly, I will find another VOR near Islamabad International Airport. As you can see, this is the Rawalpindi Airport VOR. So I will from Sialkot, I will move towards RN, and then somewhere here, I will intercept this VOR. The heading is 278 degrees. If I look at the chart, you will see the heading of the runway is 278. So I will be intercepting this line. So this VOR will be emitting frequency in this direction, although it's emitting frequency in all the directions, but this is a straight line. So I will be intercepting this straight line, and from here I will turn left while tracking this RN, and then I will perform an ILS approach and landing. So this is something really basic over here in this map. I will be also taking you through Skyvector, but right now let's go and do this flight. I will just reset everything because we don't want any flight plan in the flight planning part of the G1000. I will just track the VOR. But for Lahore, obviously, I will select runway 36 right for the takeoff. Now I'm in the plane, and as you can see, there is no flight plan as I have deleted the flight plan. So I can go to the navigation display and find the VOR to which I will be flying, as the VOR frequency was not given over here. So this is Sial code. So I have to go here. If you bring your cursor over here, you will see this knob, FMS. It has two levels, the larger knob and the smaller one. Just move the larger one and you can just scroll through these options over here and look for the nearest. Then in nearest, you will have nearest airports, intersections, VORs, and NDB. Move the smaller one and select the VOR. Now it will actually show you all the VORs that are there, that are near this airport. The heading is given, and plus the distance is also given. You can bring the cursor over here by pressing this knob with the left mouse button, keep on holding it, and then press the right button and you will see the cursor. Then you can move this larger knob to go through all the VORs. Now the GPS coordinates or these VORs is given over here, and plus the frequency of the VOR. So what I'll do is this. Initially, when I'm flying out of Lahore, I will be tracking the Lahore VOR, and I will also be tracking the Sial code. But then halfway through the flight, I will start to track SLT. Reason being that a VOR has a range of 200 miles, but its accuracy decreases. So if you are, let's say, 100 miles away from this VOR, you will still be picking up the signals. You will see a little bit of deflection in the CDI needle, but there will be a huge deflection in the course, the real course, actually the plane. So the accuracy decreases. So that's why when you are flying out of a VOR, you are basically tracking that, and you are tracking the other VOR as well, where you're going. So you're tracking both the VORs in order to have an accurate flight plan. So in this regard, first of all, I will enter the frequency of this Lahore VOR 112.7 over here. So, or even I can do it over here as well. No need to go to that screen. You can do it over here. So this is 112.7. So let's move the larger knob and then the smaller one for the numbers after the decimal. And when I press this, then now I'm tracking the Lahore VOR. And you can see LA is coming, so it means I'm tracking the right VOR, and you can see it on your screen that the plane is actually pointing towards this VOR. Now another thing, we have to find the SLT. So as I'm moving this knob, you can see all the VORs are being selected. Can I find the SLT? Yeah, here it is. It was the third one. And the frequency for this VOR is 113.8. So on nav2, I will be tracking 113.80. So just bring your cursor over here, hold it with your left mouse button, keep on holding it and then press the right button, and this will change. Now 113.8. Just change it and just make it the active frequency. Now it has identified it as SLT. So that's it. Now, interestingly, as you are going towards Sial code, you can see this heading is coming 355 degrees. So after the takeoff, you will fly in this heading 355 degrees towards the SLT VOR. I will now, in the video, once I will take off and I'm tracking SLT, I will take you to Skyvector.com, where I will make things more clear for you. So actually I'm trying to take you, step by step. Now you can see both the VORs are there, and for the CDI, let's say if you're looking at the GPS, you have to press CDI in order to have VOR1 over here on your screen. Now in the PFD options, bearing 1, just bring this VOR nav 1 over here, not the GPS, not this one, but you have to bring this nav 1 over here so that you can track it, the distance and plus the heading. Then for bearing 2, instead of VOR 1, you will track VOR 2. So nav 2 is not coming, although it has identified it as SLT because of this information, but it is not picking up the signals right now. I think when I'm above 2000 feet, it will start picking up the signals. So you have to be at a good altitude. So then you will start seeing this information. My altitude will be 5,000 feet during the, or rather I will go to 6,000 feet. That's it, after the takeoff. Now there is another thing that we have to do. That for the course, we will set it to 355. That's it. So this is the course, or my desired course, 355 degrees. So, and my current heading is 360, which is like the heading of the runway. So I will take off like this, but I have to turn left right after the takeoff in order to intercept this line. As you can see, this is the CDI needle, and it shows you the deflection. If it's on the left side, it means the VOR is on the left side. And if it's on the right side, it means the VOR is on the right side. But as now as I'm on the runway, that's why I'm telling you in terms of VOR. But in terms of course, yes, it tells you the deviation from the course. Right now, the desired course is towards the left. So after the takeoff, I will try to intercept this line. And as soon as I will intercept it, then my course will be 355, and then I will just fly. So you have to keep the CDI needle in the middle. That's done. And let's bring the heading mode, because after this takeoff, I will be flying in the heading mode, not in the nav mode. And I will bring the vertical speed. I will set it to, let's say, 1200. So right after the takeoff, and I will turn on the autopilot, I will fly in the heading mode, and my vertical speed for the climb will be 1200 feet per minute. So this is right now what I'm going to do. So let's take this plane up in the air. I will tell you how to intercept this this course, and then I will take you to Skyvector, and from there I will clarify more things regarding the VOR navigation. Now let's take this plane up in the air and track the VORs. So it's really simple. Just find the VOR, tune to the VOR, look at the direction of the VOR, and then you can just fly. And then there are many complexities that we can add to it, which I will tell you now after the takeoff. Now flaps up. I can just turn on the autopilot right now. And let me press flight level change for this. And that's it. Now let's look at the screen. Now I'm tracking this VOR. And you can see the course is on the left side. So instead of flying in this heading 360, I have to actually, let me just fix this course. Actually, I had to start the flight again, 355 degrees. So I will now intercept this course. So instead of flying in this heading 355 degrees, I will move towards the left side, and I will try to intercept this line, and it will come in the middle. So Skyvector.com actually gives you a very good flexibility over the VOR planning. Although you can just simply use this map as well to make your flight plans using the VOR. Now you can see this needle is coming in the middle, so I can just slowly start turning towards the right side, because then this will go totally towards left, so you have to just bring it on the course. Just move towards, wait for it to come in the middle, and then I can set it to 355. There is also a very good app known as the little nav map, but I don't know, every time when you install it, the Windows give you an error that there is something about this software. So I actually refrain from using that little nav map, and I just only reside to skyvector.com. So I can now set it to 355, and now you can see it's in the middle. And plus, as I told you before, above 2000 feet it has also started to pick up the VOR for Sialkot. As you can see, now it's coming as 57.7 nautical miles, and it's the heading is 355 degrees. And as you're going away from LA, this distance is increasing 2.6 nautical miles, and it is 175. Now the reciprocal of 355 is 175 degrees, because it's over here at the back. You're just tracking it. So this is something really interesting. So whatever your heading is, the VOR that you are tracking, that you are going away from, will be on this side. So it's actually 175 degrees. So you're going away from this VOR. That's it. But you are tracking the SLT. Now let's go to Skyvector and let's see how to basically make a flight plan over there using the VORs. So now this is skyvector.com, and anything that you see like this is actually the VOR, and it is a compass. All the VORs, they actually are heading north up. All the VORs, they just have a heading of 360, or they all face north up. So this is actually known as the compass or the radial, and this is your 0 degrees, then you have 90, 180, 270 and 360, like complete compass. Now this VOR is over here. What I'll do is this: I will make this plan. I will start from OPLA and I will go to OPIS. Now you will see the straight line is drawn. So exactly, this is what I was telling you. The best thing about Skyvector is this, that it tells you the distance and plus also the heading. So the heading is 325 degrees. So if I just fly and keep on flying at this heading 325 degrees, I will be at Islamabad, but I have to actually approach Islamabad like this. So I don't want to do this. Okay, I think this line will get corrected. Yeah, now it's correct. So I don't want to do this. So I will go to SLT. So you can just drag this line and keep it over here on SLT, and you can select this VOR. Now you can see I've just placed it over this hexagonal shape, and now the heading is 355 degrees, and the distance is 60 nautical miles, and then from here I'll go here. Now instead of going to Islamabad, I will be going to this VOR, which is RN, and this is basically the VOR for the old Islamabad International Airport. So at this point I will actually intercept this VOR. So if I just draw this imaginary line, I will just tell you like this 278 degrees, let's keep it like this. Now I will use the GPS coordinates. So 280, if I just move it here a little bit. You don't do it like this in the Skyvector, but I'm just showing you if you want to plot a line. 278 degrees. So exactly that's what I'm going to do. So once I am flying from Sialkot, I will be flying in this heading 315 degrees towards RN, and at this point I will be intercepting this VOR, and I will then turn left. Now there is something I just want to tell you, that the VOR, all these points in the compass, they are basically the radials, just like the spokes on the cycle. Just consider they are lines, and they are extended lines. So right now there is an extended line 355 degrees, and I'm just following this line. Let me just go back and show you. So if this needle is like this in the middle, it means you are just following it. So right now I'm basically following this radial. Now there is something really interesting about VORs. There is a concept of radial in and radial out. So let's consider that you are here. If you are moving towards this side, let's say, so your outbound radial is 0 or 360 degrees, because you're going outbound from this. And if you are coming towards this this point, let's say if you're coming from this side of the world, you're basically heading 90 degrees, but your radial is 270, which is the reciprocal of 90. So your inbound radial is 270, outbound radial is 90. That's how you read it. Right now when I'm going to Sialkot, my outbound radial is 355. Remember this thing that you always go in this heading, because you cannot go in this reciprocal heading. So let's say if I'm tracking 355, the reciprocal of 355 will be 355 minus 180, which will be 175 degrees. So right now I am in the inbound radial of 175 degrees as I'm going towards it inbound, but I'm going outbound 355, but I'm tracking the outbound heading, because if I'm going 175 degrees, then I will be going the other way. So I will be going this direction. So remember this thing, just to keep things really simple for you. Just plot this flight plan on Skyvector, and then just fly in this heading 355. So right now for Lahore, your outbound radial is 355 and you are on this 355 radial. But for Sialkot, you're tracking the outbound radial of 355, but inbound is 175. While going from here, once you'll turn left, you will be tracking the outbound radial of 315 degrees and you will be on this radial, no inbound radial. Inbound radial will be the reciprocal of this heading. If you're coming from here, then it will be your inbound. But at that time, you will be tracking the outbound radial. So for both of the VORs, I'm tracking the outbound radial, 355 degrees for LA and 355 for Sialkot. That's how you do it. It's a bit confusing, but just try to keep it simple. Just keep on flying in this heading. And once you are used to this inbound and outbound concept, then you will be able to read it easily. But it's more likely to be used if you're using ATC communication. Let's say they say fly towards this VOR inbound radial 175. So when they say inbound radial 175, fly towards the VOR, it means you have to set your heading to 355 for outbound. Interesting. So that's really interesting. Now almost half the way, I will just adjust the course a bit. Sorry, I have to go to the left side because I'm still deviated from the path. I will do another trick just to show you all that what actually is happening. Although I was not supposed to do this in this video, but just for your ease, I'm going to make this flight plan. So what I'll do is this. Origin was OPLA. Press enter, and runway was 36, right? Enter. That's it. And I'm going towards SLT. This is my waypoint. I'm tracking this. Enter. Select the viewer. This is in Pakistan, so press enter, and then I will go to RN. I will press this. This will really help you understand the whole thing. RN does not exist. There's no waypoint such as RN. Let me just clear it. Yeah, there's this viewer. Or what I can do is this, I can select OPRN, but it will select it as an airport. Interesting. Let's do it again. Or if I select OPRN, it's not letting me select this. Interesting. Oops. Why don't I just type it? Yeah, so I can enter this. Now you can see the heading is coming. So I can just go with this, and this is actually my point. OPRN is basically RN, and then I can select the destination. Destination is OPIS, Islamabad International Airport, OPIS. and press enter, and that's it. Runway is 28 right, enter, enter, and that's it. So destination is like this. Now if you look at this flight plan, actually it will first of all take me to this. Obviously RN is here, this VOR, as you can see it on your screens. So as per this flight plan, actually I will go towards OPR and then I will fly towards this runway. So this map will actually tell you what is actually going on. So that's why I just loaded it as a beginner. But remember this thing, that if you are making this GPS plan, then no need to do this VOR tracking. So I'm just making this plan just to show you that it is just like the one that we made in the Skyvector, and just to show you that we are following this line. So if I deviate from this line, what will happen? Now let's have a look at it. The pathway has also started to appear over here. So I can just get rid of this pathway because this is cheating. I'm slightly off the course, but I don't want to cheat. So let's go to this option, PFD options, and go to SVT and just turn off the pathways. I don't want this. This will be cheating. Because when you're doing VOR navigation, you don't do this GPS flight plan. Okay? But just to show you, right now you can see I'm following this line and almost on the course, slightly deviated. What if I just deviate a lot? Then I will show you how this needle will behave if I turn towards left. Is there deviation? Yeah, you can see now the plane has started to deviate from this line. As I'm deviating, this needle is, I should see this deviation. Let me just have a big deviation. Now you can see it will go towards the right side, because this line, the course is on the right side. Although this view shows me that I'm following it, but I'm just going to deviate from it. So it's showing me that my course is towards the right side. This arrow is showing me, and plus this needle is showing me that I'm going off the course. Let's have a larger deflection. And now you can see I'm going almost opposite. So my course is here, 355 degrees. And now you can see that this deflection has started to appear. Now what's happening is this, as now I'm away from the Lahore VOR, that's why this deflection is very little. But there is deflection. So that's what I was telling you, that the VOR's accuracy decreases over the distance. So although you will keep on tracking it, but the accuracy will decrease. So in order to just go back, don't fly in this heading 355. What will happen if I set my heading to 355? Let's see. This is something really interesting to look at. Now if I fly in this heading 355, I will start to travel parallel to this line, which means I'm not following this course. So there will be deflection. The course is on the right side. And now you can see the plane is going in this heading 355, but I'm parallel to this line. You see? And if I change the CDI, you can see I can also track the other VOR for the SAL code. And let's get rid of it. And you can see there's deflection. Okay. Now I'm flying parallel to this line, which is not right, because if I keep on flying parallel to this line, I will end up somewhere here, not on the SLT. So I have to follow this. So let's intercept it by 45 degrees. So this line is a 45 degree line. When you intercept this course or the line, you intercept it by 45 degrees. I'm actually going at a very high speed, so let me just reduce it. I'll keep it at 100. Now let's set the heading to this point, intercept it by 45 degrees. So now I will fly towards this line, and as soon as I intercept it, I will just adjust the heading. There you can see the plane has started to go back to this line, and slowly the CDI needle will move in the middle. And this shows me that my course is towards the left, so I'm keeping it at 45 degrees. Going to intercept it, and then as soon as this needle is somewhere here, I will start to go back to 355 degrees. Although as a beginner, this will look very complex to you, or maybe it will take you some time to basically understand this. But once you are used to it, and you can identify the VORs, and you can get the correct heading, then you will be able to just do these VOR navigations very comfortably. So now, as you can see, this needle is moving in the middle and just moving towards the course. So I can start reducing, start turning towards the left in order to intercept this line and then follow this course like this. So this is how I'm planning to intercept it. So now this Lahore VOR is a bit far now, 34 nautical miles far, and this Sialkot is near. So instead of tracking Lahore, I will start to track Sialkot. It's better to track Sialkot because, and let's adjust the course. You can see the deviation was coming over here like this, because the course for Sialkot is 355 like this. So that's why, even if you move the course, so that's fine, just set it to 355. Now almost there. Remember this thing, that at any time I can press the CDI button, get the GPS and turn on the nav, and the plane will fly on this mode. Now let's bring it back to 355. And that's it. Now the plane will actually follow that. Now let's bring the screen up. And I will keep the SLT, the RN VOR over here. Now after Sialkot, I will be tracking this. Now interestingly, as I'm no longer tracking the LA, I can just keep the frequency of RN in a standby frequency mode. So let's change it from nav2 to nav1, and just tune into this frequency 112.10, and just press the swap. Now 112.10 is the active frequency, and you can see its identifier is coming RN. And let's go to Skyvector. Now the Skyvector tells me that once I will be at Sialkot VOR, when I will cross it, I then have to fly in this heading 315 degrees. So my course is 315. So go back over here, and for VOR, right now this is VOR 2. I'm tracking Sialkot. So I'll press CDI once again, and then now it's 315. So I will just adjust the course 315 over here. Now as you can see, even in this map, it's towards the left side. So if you're going straight, you must be somewhere here. So this RN is actually here. So that's why you can see this arrow is pointing towards this side. So I know this is here. Wait. And this is my VOR2. So VOR2 for Sialkot and VOR1 for RN. Okay. There is another thing I just want to tell you. Right now you can see RN is 322 degrees. It is relevant to the position of the plane. It is wherever the position is relevant to this position, it's 322 degrees. If right now if I want to start flying towards RN, I can do that. But remember this thing, that while carrying out a VOR navigation, you try to find the closest VORs. As I've told you before, if the distance is big, then there are issues with the accuracy, because once you're doing VOR navigation, you will not be doing this flight plan. I'm again mentioning this point because it's more interesting if you do it without this. Then you will know where you're going, and this will make your flight simulation experience really interesting if you don't see your flight path. So right now, relevant to your position, the heading is 321 degrees. But once you will be here, then relevant to that position, it will be 315 degrees. So that's why it's shown over here. So always keep the next VOR over here just to see what its heading is. Even if you don't want to use Skyvector, you can do it like this. So even let's say this is another VOR SGR. If I want to go towards the north, I can just track this VOR. And then there is another VOR. You can track any. This is Peshawar VOR. So instead of going to Islamabad, I can track Peshawar VOR and just go over there. Then, you can see multiple VORs. So let's keep RN as the active. And let's keep an eye on the heading, 321 degrees. Now the plane is near the Sialkot VOR. And let me just adjust the heading towards the left side, because now as I'm near and the accuracy is increasing, so there will be little bit deflections. And let me just show you. Even if I keep it at 355, you will still see the deflection will start to happen as I'm near this VOR. So when these deflections are increasing, it means you are near the VOR. And there will be a time when it will be blank for some time, when you will be just above this VOR. It will just go blank and then it will start picking it up again. Now there is another thing. You can see two arrows in cyan color with a single line. This is VOR 1 and I'm tracking RN. So this is the heading in which I will be flying after this VOR. And then there is another arrow with double lines, which is NAV2, as I'm tracking Sialkot on NAV2. And you can see this runway is also shown over here. So these two cyan colors will actually, this is for NAV1, one line, and two lines for NAV2. Very simple. Again, you can see I'm just flying in this heading 355, but still the deflection is coming because now I'm going to cross the VOR. Up. Here's the airport. Nice view. Let me just show you. Now you can see still I was flying in this heading, but this deflection has started to appear. So, and these needles have started to change. So it means, and see, everything is now blank because I'm just passing over SLT. And as soon as I will cross it. Let me just adjust the view. Then again it will start to appear. Now I will be again tracking the Sialkot because RN is a bit fast, so I will not be tracking RN right now. I will be tracking Sialkot, but my heading or the course will be 315, as I told you before, 315. So it is now just right on top of the NAV1. Now I will intersect it by 45 degrees, so it's here. So I will just set my heading back to this position and then I will intercept this line because now I have crossed this line. So now let's move this heading bug to 270 degrees. Let's intercept it by 45 degrees and then I will just start to turn back as soon as this needle will start to move in the middle. Now still I'm tracking VOR 2 and now it is showing me VOR2. It's at the back. So this is actually showing me the actual position of this VOR, because this shows me I'm going away from this VOR. It's at the back. Although I'm going away from it, but it's at the back. So this will tell me that I'm going away from it. Now the needle has started to move towards the middle, so let's start bringing the heading to 315. Let's keep it here and let's see if the plane gets aligned. Now I'm tracking this heading 315. Great. Now the plane is on this line and everything is good. Amazing. Now what I'll do is that another trick. I will check what is the frequency for the BTR. So I will keep the BTR as a backup in nav2. So the frequency for BTR is 114.6. So over here I will keep this 114.6 as a backup. So as soon as I will stop tracking SLT, I will be tracking RN, then I will make this the current frequency, and I will then change the course of it. And for the nav1, I will get the ILS. So there are two ways to get the ILS. One is the airport charts. Another trick, you can use the power of the G1000 to get the airport information and plus the frequencies. So if you move this larger knob, you will get the nearest, and instead of the VRs, go to airports, press enter, clear, and now you have different airports shown over here. Just bring the cursor by holding it with your left mouse button and then clicking it with right mouse button, then move this larger knob, and let's see if I can find OPIS. Yes, now OPIS is here. As soon as I'm over here on OPIS, you will see airport. This will give me the airport. It will give me the information about the runways, 28 left and 10 right, hard surface, and both are the hard surface. And you can see the length of the runway is also coming. So I will be landing at runway 28 right. Good. And then if I press frequency, it will just show me the frequencies for that airport. So this is a center and approach. This is for the COM port. So if I want to communicate, I will use this knob COM to set the frequency. But as I'm not contacting ATC for this flight, that's why I'll just ignore it. And then you will see the ILS frequencies coming for the runways. So I will look for ILS 28 right, 110.7. So it's 110.7. And right now I will not make it the active frequency. As soon as I will intercept this line like this, as I've told you before, let me just take you to Skyvector. So my plan is this, that the plane will keep on flying. Halfway I will start tracking RN, and I will stop tracking SLT, and then I will start tracking BTR. Then the plane will keep on flying. At this point I will turn left while tracking BTR, and then I will also make the ILS frequency as an active frequency, so that I should know that whether I'm following the glide slope or not. There is another thing. My distance at this point, if I'm flying in this heading 315 degrees, my distance will be exactly 23 nautical miles away from the runway. Now there is something interesting I want to show you. Oops, sorry for that. This thing is happening a lot in this simulator because in Microsoft Simulator 2020, Control 1 and 2 and 3 were used to scroll through the instruments, or to change the views for the instruments, now it's shift 1 and 2. So when I press control 1 and 2, the autopilot disengages. Sorry for that. Okay. So I just wanted to show you this chart. So if I OPS is already there, 28 right. So if I look at 28 right, no, I will not keep this chart over here, and just to show you that no plane will actually come from here. Now the an immediate fix from where the final approach even will start. It is basically immediate fix is a point after the initial approach fix, and from there your approach starts, and then you go towards the final approach fix. So your intermediate fix at this point, you should be at 5,000 feet. Anyhow, I will be just looking at this glide slope in order to follow this procedure. Number one. Number two, you have to look at the distance. So the final approach fix is 6 nautical miles from the runway, and plus this immediate fix is D14.7. If you read this D6, it means distance is 6 for IBIP. IBIP is actually the identifier for the localizer for the ILS. 110.7, this frequency is there in IBIP. So as soon as I will make this the active frequency, you will see IBIP coming over here, this identifier. So this is 14 nautical miles away. So to be on the safe side, I'm actually turning towards this runway 23 nautical miles, so that I can prepare for the approach and for the landing. So while making your flight plan, always remember that in Skyvector, just give some space. You can move this point. I can just keep it like this over here, but then it will not make a good approach. It will not make yes, definitely a good approach. So that's fine. You can just like bring it here and keep it like this. Actually, there are so many things going on in the mind because there's so much information. So while making a video, you're always thinking which one to tell, which one not to tell, and how to describe which points. So that's why kindly excuse me for that. So it's 278 because this VOR is something really different. Even when I started flight simulation, it was all about finding the sit and star and configuring the MCDU for the Airbus or for the Boeing and just flying this plane. It was easy. But once you are doing this VOR thing, initially it will get very confusing, but slowly you will get used to it, and you will be then easily flying anywhere. So even with me, if I want to take this plane anywhere, I want to try different airports, I simply sit in this cockpit, go over here on this screen, look at the different VORs, and then I can just pick up any VOR. Let's say which direction I'm going, so I can just pick up any VOR. I can just start tracking it, start flying towards it, and then I can go for an ILS approach and landing. And interestingly, the direction of the runways also appear over here. So OPRS is like this, and OPRN is like this, you see. And so you can also look at your heading, how you can just go with it. And even if you want to load a procedure for the arrival and for the approach, you can do that, and then you can just go into the nav board and directly fly towards that point, and you can do your flight. So this is really flexible. That's why I call G1000 one of the most powerful navigation devices in the Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. If you are comfortable with this device and you know how to make your flight plan and do VOR navigations and your GPS flight plans and plus NDB navigation, I will also tell you how to follow the NDBs. So there will be, but that will be a separate video because it is just like the VOR. The procedure is slightly different for its frequency, but you can also track the NDBs, which are non-directional beacon. Even they are older than the VOR. Now I am almost halfway between RN and SLT. Yeah, so let's change the frequency. So now I will track RN. I will just go to this option, and for SLT I will change the frequency to BTR, which is for Islamabad, the VOR for Islamabad, and I will just press this. Okay. Now for VOR 1, you can see there is a little bit of deflection. Let's adjust the heading so that I can just like fly in the straight line. And for VOR 2, let's adjust the course. For VOR 2, it's 278. So I will just move this knob and move it to 278. Again, why I'm setting it to 278, as you can see, the heading of the runway is 278. Now this is a very ideal situation when I'm flying to Islamabad. The VOR is actually at this start of the runway. It's almost here. So you're perfectly aligned with the runway. But it's in the middle of the two runways, 28 left and right. But still, it's got a good direction. In some cases, the VOR can be placed in different places. So in this case, you have to be really careful. And you have to just follow this approach plate in order to see whether you are going in the right direction or not. So this can be a good help, because over here you can see your plane. Right now I cannot see it, but let's wait for it. So now I'm almost near the airport. Let's just go to skyvector.com and have a look at something. Now the heading of this runway is 278. So for the Islamabad International Airport's VOR, you are tracking the outbound heading of 278, or the outbound radial, because this is 278, and the reciprocal is 98 degrees. So once you are approaching this VOR, your inbound heading, or the inbound radial, will be 98 degrees, and the outbound will be 278 degrees. But remember this thing, that every time when you are just tracking a VOR, always track the outbound. It's really simple, because you're going in this direction. If you're tracking 98, then you are going in the other direction. Again, I just want to tell you one more thing. If you look at this needle, this is basically your VOR for the Islamabad International Airport. Now this is somewhere here. So this is west is 270, this is 275, and 78 will be somewhere here. So when this needle is here pointing towards this side, it means now you are on this heading. You are going towards this. Right now it's like this, because you're just moving on the radial. As your plane is moving in this direction, your radial is changing. So right now, if you draw a straight line from here, you can see the radials are changing. So once you are here, you would be on 278. But over here, if you draw a straight line, you're on some other radial and stuff like this. Like this. You just have to actually point in this direction from the VOR. You just make this line. I'm just drawing it with the help of the mouse. But obviously, you are somewhere here near. So as soon as the plane is moving towards this VOR RN, you're moving around on this radial. And once you're on 278, you will turn left. So this is a very good indication. So if you don't have these maps or anything like this, or even if you're not tracking it like this, this is a very good indication. Now you can see I'm almost over here on 280. So it's 270, 280, 290, and 300. So if I just change the CDI, you will see now it's coming in the middle. So it's time to turn left. And now you can see, as I told you before. So that's another magic of the VOR navigation. Let's make some adjustment. And as I told you before, as soon as I will stop tracking RN, I will change it to it's not swiping. Amazing. It should. 110 point. It's not making it the active frequency. Very strange. Oops, I'm really sorry. So now it's time to track the ILS. I forgot to bring this box over here. Sorry for that. It's been a long time, long day at office, and then making this video. 110.7. Now IB. Okay, you can see this identifier is coming. This happens. Okay, so it means now you're tracking the ILS. So let's adjust the course. Now at some point I will be here. So at this point I can also start tracking the ILS, but now you can see this ILS information is not coming. You can do another thing. Go to this PFD option, bearing, and let's bring the ILS. So ILS is coming, and plus I can also press DME. It's 19.3 nautical miles away. So roughly here at this distance, 6 nautical miles, you should be at 3,700. So let's even start the descent. 3,700. I will reduce the throttle. And let's press flight level change at 85 knots. And here you can see the runway. This is the runway. So let's get back to tracking the VOR. This VOR navigation just brought us right to this point. So that's the beauty of this VOR navigation. It's really nice. It keeps you active throughout the flight. Because if you're doing GPS flight plan, you will sleep. It gets boring. But if you're doing any flight, you can just be active throughout the flight. You're just selecting the VORs and just following them, adjusting the heading, adjusting the course and everything. So it becomes interesting. So let me just also check. Yeah, for this ILS, course is set to 278, and this is again set to 278 for VOR. Now look at this distance to the runway, because I'm tracking the ILS, the localizer, so that's why distance to runway is 13 nautical miles and the altitude is 4,800. So way before this point I will be at 3,700 feet, and maybe once I'm at 3,700 feet I can then change it to the ILS, the CDI. I can just get the ILS over here and then land it myself, or I can just hit this approach button and everything will be done automatically by the autopilot. So that's how you mix actually VOR navigation with ILS. So let's see if I press this CDI. You can see there is a deflection. Now this deflection is coming because, as I've told you before, this VOR is in the middle of the runways. So that's why the 28 right is slightly towards the right. So that's why you can see this deflection is coming. But as you look at this glide slope indicator, this diamond is over here. So it means I'm at a good altitude. If this diamond is above the center line, then it means you're at a good altitude. But if this diamond is below this line, then you are coming at a higher altitude and you have to adjust your altitude. So right now everything is good, and slowly this diamond will come in the middle. Even right now I can activate approach and the plane will actually adjust its course, and then as soon as this middle comes in the diamond comes in the middle, then the plane will start to follow the glide slope, which is this. So let's press approach and see what happens. You see, now the plane is actually correcting its course, trying to bring the CDI needle in the middle, so because it's tracking ILS. And now it will just make some little adjustments. And I'm no longer tracking the BDR, now it's IBIP. And now you can see this diamond started to move in the middle, because the plane is nearing this point. So at this point, this will be in the middle. This is where the plane will intercept the ILS, and then the plane will go and land. And you can see such a good alignment, nice navigation. I'm really proud of myself. I just did this video. Because on the working days, Sunday is actually a working day for me. So on the working days after the office, it gets very difficult, recording something like for 2-3 hours and then editing it. So I'm always scared. So before starting a video, I always think twice or thrice. And then I just make up my mind and sit down with a nice cup of tea and enjoy some good flights with all of you. Now as the approach mode is on, as you can see, this localizer thing is coming, which means the plane is actually following the localizer, and this glide slope has started to appear. So now the plane is actually following this glide slope. It's now time to reduce the thrust and start extending the flaps. Remember one thing, that if you go below a certain speed and if you reduce the throttle a lot during the descent for the landing and you extend the flaps, the plane goes up, and when the plane goes up, the speed reduces, so you have to adjust the throttle accordingly. So this is something really tricky about the Cessna 172. So if I extend the flaps, you see the nose goes up and the speed reduces, so you have to adjust the throttle accordingly. Now reduce it more. So that's how you control it. If I will again extend the flaps, reducing the throttle because I just want to keep the speed at 65 knots. Now extend the flaps, you see the nose pitches up and then it goes down. So now the speed is reducing, so increase the throttle. So that's how you manage it. Again, nose up, speed goes down, plane will stall, and full flaps. Because flaps are providing you lift but also providing drag. So full flaps, and let's keep the speed at 65 knots, and the plane is actually following the glide slope. So I hope this was a useful video, and now you can do the VOR navigation, and you can land the plane on ILS. Even with the VOR approach, you can visually land the plane. So initially, if you're really new to the VOR navigation, the things will get a bit confusing, but just try making some flight plans. Try flying different routes and different airports, and see if you can just find your way through the airspace. Remember this thing, don't look at the map. It's a very good thing to do initially, because I've been practicing VOR navigation on the Cessna 152, and Cessna 152 doesn't have the navigation display. So that's why I can find my way using the VORs and then flying the plane around. So now this is the landing at runway 28 right for Islamabad International Airport. Just trying to have a nice landing, and that's it. If you've got any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day. Hope to see you soon.